Here's that. There we go. Okay, that looks like sound. Okay. Good news. We have sound. Ta-da!
You do?
I do. I now have sound. Okay.
I don't hear.
There we go. Great. Great, great, great. Okay.
I don't pick it up. Are you sure? I can't hear you.
April can hear me.
The delay. I forgot about the delay.
That's right. That's right. Okay, we're good to
I
go.
forgot about the delay. I had a moment there. I just forgot.
Oh man. Okay. And we're all set. Okay. Well, great.
Okay, so I will be after we hang up, I'm just gonna move the listing, the public facing,
Perfect. That sounds great. Thanks so much.
and then I'll put the links up. Okay, have fun, and then just text me before you go off so I can make sure everything's turned off on this end.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Jen.
Okay, you're welcome.
Bye. Okay. Yes. Yes. Also streaming on YouTube. Today's kind of cool. Today we are going to be finishing up this painting 74 times. Uh, maybe not 74 times, maybe like 8. We'll see. But I'm going to do one of the craziest things I've ever done, which is going to be adding elements to every single print that I make. This right here is an artist proof. This is kind of a test. The sound is not quite the color was not quite perfect on this one. And the other, let's see, there's two, let's see, one, two, we have three artist proofs, and then we're getting onto the actual real prints, which I am legitimately terrified about, but like in all the right reasons. So we've just got 3 times to try it out. So yes, this is gonna happen. Anyway, yeah. And Dr. Jude, heard your request. Yours is absolutely going to have an eagle and a whale. I am so excited, and thank you for the support, by the way. I'm so excited for people to actually get their the text. This one right here. This is the artist proof, but like look at this. Is this not the coolest thing? So we have a printer that can actually print on like, gosh, what is this, 300 gram? It's just a giant sheet of really, really nice watercolor paper, and it feels like exactly like the sketch. It is so cool. So we got some decisions to make. Whew. Okay. Step 1. How are you all? How's life? How are things going? A little topsy-turvy on this side, but things are going well here. And today we'll kind of get some prints. Oh, also, one of these little custom handmade buttons are going to go with each one as well. This is just too fun, so you have to see this. I'm so excited about this. It's just so funny. Look at these little tiny Mount Marathon buttons. They're each different. Each one is a different, each one is colored in differently, but it's just too fun not to. Buttons are the best. Life is better with buttons. Like a lot. All right. Sure. Eagle and a whale. These are the two missing things, and then I got to figure out how it's going to be labeled right here and then signed. So lots of questions. If anybody has any strong opinions on kind of where the eagle or the whale should go, speak now or forever hold your truth. And then on the signing side, I think I should probably do it below here where it's not actually in, but I could also do it like in white on top of. These are things I probably should have thought much more about before actually getting to there, but there you go. That's kind of like the planning side of life sometimes. Okay, so I figured let's start with a couple test runs on eagles and whales. And then we can kind of start. We get 3 tries, 3 tries before it gets real. Aren't the buttons great? Yeah, these are so fun. I love buttons so much. I didn't like the sound they make too. Some button ASMR. So if I brought these to the last 2 live streams, just like they've both been races, so it's been kind of fun to give them out. But yeah, I don't know. I love this idea too of at like Telluride, we did this live stream. The idea was like if you basically there's a button that said I found Max, so kind of this fun little thing where the only way to get one of these was to find me, and I like the idea of doing something like that in the wild too, where maybe you make like kind of a fun art button. It's like that's the way you get it. Although if you have one of these prints that's just going to show up, that's how you're going to get it. In other news, feeling the imposter syndrome and like the deep gratitude mix, which are just such an opposite thing, but got the prints up and running today, and so like almost there's like close to 10 people have already ordered these, and this is just kind of the pre-release side of things, but it is so cool knowing that these are going to go out, especially to people who saw them like happen too, and like all of those little magical things that went into making these. Oh, the real ones are live now. Holy cow. So that's happened. As an artist, this is always one of those moments too where it's like, well, it's like a dance, right? You put yourself out into the world, and there's this moment before like the applause happens, where it's probably like the terror, I'd say, of any performance. And for artists, it's kind of that. It's when you put something out into the world, and it's before people say they like it or they want it or they'll get it, and it happened today. Dr. G, you're one of the first too, so thank you for that. Okay, let's put this over here. Let's figure out what we're doing. This is a scrap of the paper. As you can see, it's just full-on watercolor paper. The eagle kept on flying to and from. So let's try out the eagle, and then let's try out the whale here. And this feels a little bit higher stakes, even though I have sketched many an eagle and many a whale. But for some reason, this feels like slightly higher stakes. I think because the painting is basically done and it feels just like a real sketch. So there's the pressure feels real, but it shouldn't be too. I want it to kind of feel like that sketch. So I think this is going to be the eagle, and then the whale. I noticed you could see a lot of its fluke and its dorsal fin, but how is that going to look like? Can you do the whale fluke like you saw it during the live stream? Yes. Well, and how was that though? Because I feel like I saw a bunch of it, because there's kind of this moment, right? There's one of these where it's kind of going into the water. Like I remember one of those, but also I remember when I saw it and it was kind of doing like a dive, like the dive fluke. I suppose I can go track it down, can't I? Actually go see on the live stream. I also feel like I saw one of those, and I feel like there was one where I could kind of see its back as well. So I feel like there's kind of like three distinct ones that I remember. 1, 2, 3. I could change it up too. I could do multiples, and there's actually tons of whales too. So that wouldn't be the end of the world to do a couple. Let me find the right pen. This is the real key. Nope, this is the wrong pen. Every single. That's not the best pen. This is the funny thing. Here are like this is my desk of pens, and I would say like most of these are in the not doing well bucket. I just can't bring myself to like throw out a Micron, which is hilarious because they're good, but they do their job, and then they are done. But that's close. Anyone else very particular with their Micron pens? Is that just me? Oh, here we go. That feels pretty good. Okay, so we got some whales. Let's just go see really quick what this is going to feel or look like. Oh boy. Step 1, find a brush. We're going to use a little brush today for some obvious reasons. A little bit of a mug. Put the mug here. They never last long enough. It's so true. I tried to the Microns. So Micron, there's a bunch of different pens. So there's all of these. These are Faber-Castell. There's Micron, and then there's like Lamy and all the rest. But as far as like permanent ink, and that's the real thing you want to look at. See, archival ink, that's important. But it says right here. Let's see. Yeah, waterproof and fade-proof lines. That's what you want, waterproof. As far as like waterproof pens, there's not a whole lot of waterproof calligraphy pens. There's not a lot of waterproof anything. Although what's interesting about these is the dots represent, where are they here? Yes, these dots represent, I think 25 years each. No, so the dots are light fastness, and I believe it's like 50 years or something. So this pen is like light fast for 150 years. Is that what it is? Does it give me a key? No, it doesn't. You're supposed to know them. Anyway, so you can kind of see this one is 3 dots. And this one right here has, oh, this also has 3 dots. I love the idea of the Faber-Castell. Haven't ever quite gotten to pull them off, but I was using Micron for this one, so that's what I'll be doing. Watercolor paper seems to dry them out more quickly than other papers. It is true. That would make a lot of sense. I didn't think about that. Like the watercolor paper is probably sucking the ink out in particular. I was ancient Microns laying around. Can't bring myself to get rid of them. It's like, yeah, they've done a good job. Like you think of I can't bear to throw them out. It's so sad. Okay, so we've got these whales. I'm just gonna put a little bit of blue down. We're gonna kind of figure out what the tail side kind of looks like. So okay, whale. And technically it's all gonna be blue. I might go quickly look up that stream, lickety split, just to see if I can pinpoint the moment we saw some of the whales. So A, 1, 2, or 3? Which one of these do you think would be most appropriate for the bottom of this? I'm thinking kind of here. 1, 2, or 3, kind of full fluke out, sort of the diving, or just the back. I could also do kind of a combination. The first one? Yeah, was that accurate? That's definitely what I think of when I see a whale. And I believe they had some white on the back of them, but I think from this angle they were all, like I can see in my mind's eye, they were all black from this angle, although they might have a touch of white on the tips. But it was kind of one of these, right? Yeah, 1 and 3. Yeah, I think 1 and 3. I think 1 of each. That feels pretty good. The diving one is cool, but I feel like you need to see that in motion for it to work. Okay, so here's our whales. There we go. Feels pretty good. All right. Yeah, they're mostly dark. Okay, perfect. Let's see what kind of whales they would have been. Whales in... Could have been fin whales. Could have been all kinds, really. They have a lot of different whales there. Whales in Resurrection Bay. What do we got? We have... Okay, they've had humpbacks, orcas. I don't think it was a humpback. They've had... Oh yeah, tons and tons and tons. Here we go. Was that a... No, that's humpback. It could have been humpbacks. This is what the humpback whales in Resurrection Bay look like. So I guess it could have been humpbacks, huh? Curious. The first one more visible from a distance. Yeah, because I definitely remember that. And then, yeah, that feels right when it was kind of just going down. Gosh, were those humpbacks? That's pretty cool if they were. I feel like after painting humpbacks so long, I'm getting some deep appreciation of just how like special those whales are. How kind of long lived too. Okay, I believe they're humpbacks. That's pretty cool. That is a humpback, but it's so small on my screen. I'm also working on getting the camera with a better zoom. That was the other thing I learned, and these prints will help with that. Like honestly, that is kind of what this is probably directly going into. We're gonna see those whales real close next time. All right, so we have some whale tests. Okay, so this feels pretty good. It's like a test run. Now let's go try this eagle side of things. The eagle's pretty cool and definitely got pretty close. Could you see it very well from the chat? Also, hello from Australia. Welcome. And from Montana. Wow, we're going opposite parts of the world here. If you're just joining, today I'm going to be finishing up this enormous painting of Mount Marathon in Seward, Alaska by adding a little eagle here and some whales here. And these are actually the first set of prints that I made in a very, very, very long time. We're trying it out with really fancy watercolor paper, and I'm going to only make a set of 74, so I'm going to augment every single one of them. So every single one of them is going to have a little hand-drawn element within it. So, because I feel like that, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of special. So we're going to give it a try. The eagle was a little oblong on my screen. Okay. But let me show you what it looked like then. They were, let me just make sure everything is good on this end. Da-da-da-da-da. Nope. That's not what I was looking for. This has been a very, very cool process to make these prints, but oh my gosh, has it been exhausting. Like it's just like fine tuning and making sure everything is exactly where it needs to be. Worth it, for sure, but also like, oof, a bit exhausting. Right, so the eagle. Eddie, the eagle. So, it was flying, which direction? We'll have it, I think it'll be flying kind of in, is what we would do. And it's kind of classic eagle shape. I could make each one vaguely different too. That's another thing I could do. But there's just one. That is the thing, is that there's just one eagle. Here's the attempt that I did on my kind of test run. Maybe like a little fancier. Okay. So, and I don't want to be like too cliche, you know, like eagles are cool enough. They don't need to be like the classic fancy eagle. Although, you know what? The classic fancy eagle is pretty accurate too. They do look like that. They don't sound like that though. Every time you hear an eagle and you like hear like the scraw sound in your mind, it's wrong, which is the most frustrating thing ever, that was like allowed to be perpetrated on my young mind. Eagles don't make that sound. That is not an eagle sound. They kind of sound like a chicken or something like that. There's like I am not an ornithologist, but they kind of sound like a chicken, and they don't have that like classic kind of yelly sound. That's a red-tailed hawk or sometimes a golden eagle, and they just use them. They'll just show a picture of an American eagle. They just play. It's crazy. It's just dubbing. It's animal dubbing. Okay, rant for the day over. So we have an eagle. Let's see. Let's do something like, it's got its feathers. This one may be too big here, but you know what? We'll see. One of these. And once again, there goes the pen. It's gone. Okay. It's kind of something like this. Eagle. The problem is when you're actually in the field, it's like you build up to this, so you're allowed to be free and loose, but then all of a sudden, you know, you're in a place where you have the materials and it's not cold and not windy, but then you forget how to be free and loose. There we go. Be something like this. And then, let's see, get one of those. Yeah, that feels all right. Probably make it a touch smaller, but that feels pretty good. Oh, sorry, here's back in focus. So something like this, I think, would probably be what the eagle was, but let's just see if we can do kind of smaller version here. Let's say the head. How would I do this? There we are. And then over and around. Now, one thing I'm really excited about is I'm probably going to be doing a pretty cool adventure this Friday which I am so excited to share. I'm going to kind of try to track down one of my grandma's sketches. It's one that I've been to before. It's in Portage Glacier, and it's a really cool one. The first time I was there, is a lot of rain. It was quite an adventure to find, but I'm going to try to go back because my hope is to find a lot more of these sketches. But I have this idea that I think would be really cool, like a cool way to find them. But I want to try it out first on something that's familiar, so I actually know where I'm ending up. So I'll give it a go. I'll be doing it live, so if you do want to follow along, you'll be able to see. And if you aren't already, we have a newsletter, we have a membership, we got all kinds of cool ways that you can kind of connect, and that will tell you what's going on. But this Friday, I'm gonna try it. Adventure first, live second. That way I can kind of show you the sketches that I made. There we go. That feels good right there. I like that. Did we just try one of these? Oh man. Hello Silas. Welcome. I'm just mentally prepping here for for adding some elements to some of these prints. It's gonna be okay. What I'm gonna do first, these first two are called artist proof. So if you ever see the AP in the corner, it's called artist proof. Basically means you're like testing stuff out. I want to make sure it's ready, but often they're good enough to keep, but they're not part of the set. So that's what these first several are going to be. And let me retry these whales. I'm thinking for these whales, I'm going to have one be kind of that diving fluke here. So we got one of those. Let me make sure that I get the humpback side of things right. Let's see. Seaward, hump, back. Not that like any would be too upset if I did something like this, but I'd be just super embarrassed if a whale got one of these prints and was like, "You call that a fluke?" And I'd have to stay on dry ground for the rest of my life. It'd be very embarrassing. Where was it? I want to see the sideways, mostly the shape here. Back fluke. F-L-U-K-E? Yes. Okay. That's okay. So they've got this interesting shape. Kind of looks like a humpback fluke. Kind of looks like this. So it's got a little bit of this over, and they got this nice little kind of like V that goes down. Interesting. Okay, so that's its shape right here. That's pretty cool. Neat. Humpback fluke. The more you know. Some of the big whales have these tiny little things. I feel like it's one of those, one of those like super tall guys with kind of the little legs. But it works. It does the trick. Okay, and then there's others that are sort of more like this. There we go. So that's another type right here. And then go down, and then you have water. And I think that is when they're diving, they kind of tip up and they go whoosh, kind of slosh their way down. So that's kind of round 2 on the fins. Okay. Now, if it seems like I am procrastinating, it's probably because I am. This is just one of the scarier parts on the sketching side of things, which is okay. I find that happens with every single piece of art too. It's just like you start to recognize the phases. There really should be like a card or something. The phases of art. It'd be like the signs of grief or something like that. It would be like bargaining, excuse making, all the different ones. Max, you have really cool pictures in black and white of the Tetons, and I was wondering if you've ever painted in black and white, because I'm thinking about it. Black and white's a great way to do it, and technically, most everything I do starts in black and white, and that is because it starts as pen and ink. So you kind of got to switch it, unless, of course, you go full color first, which is actually also a very cool thing to do. But yeah, going black and white is a great way to get a sense of structure and shape and scale. And if you do already outline before you add color, you're well on your way and you're going to do great. But the Tetons are, I mean, that is, talk about kind of Ansel Adams. That is a really cool way, and you save on paint because you only need one color. Very convenient. If you're looking for a good teacher or some good inspiration on who to follow for something like that, you got to check out Claire Giordano's either Artist Academy or just look at her paintings. They're super inspirational. She is a master in monochrome, just kind of landscapes where she just picks one color, often blue, and just runs with it. It's very, very, very cool stuff. Okay, let's do it. Okay, artist proof. That's why you have artist proofs, right? To test them out. That's what we're going to do. We're going to test them out. And I'm just going to set this up here. Okay, so here is this doohickey. I'm going to do a little live on Instagram because sometimes you got to help them out. Mount Marathon, prints. Voila. Not always the biggest fan of Instagram social media. It's useful, but I find it's like a casino, you know? It's like I'm here of my own volition, but like also I can't control myself, so this is not fair. And I find that really frustrating. Much prefer the communities here. Like much prefer. But there's a lot of people who don't know, haven't heard the good word of watercolor, so we'll let them watch just for a second. Here we go. We'll give them a little bit of a touch of a show. Okay, you check that out. Nice, yeah. Well, let me know what you find, Silas, too. It's some cool stuff. All right, so the plan is on here, we're gonna add, do we do whales first? Probably do the whales first. Let's get some whales. We'll get a couple whales in, and then let's add this eagle. So, and just for a refresher, here you have this big, large, wild print of Mount Marathon, and let's add a little bit of the whale side. But first, I'm gonna sneeze. So, we're just gonna wait for that to happen. Oh no, it's not happening. Oh no, this is the worst. Hold on. You stare into light, right? Isn't that what you do? Where's a light? Nope, still not coming. Oh man. Bummer. Oh, the sneeze when you think it's gonna happen. Well, that throws off my entire day. Okay, round 2. Now we're gonna go start. So here we have this big print. So let's go add a whale. Thinking we're gonna do one of these tails right here and then one of these, and I think we just go for it. Maybe? Gosh, this is the scariest stuff. Yeah, let's just zoom right in. It's gonna be kind of right here-ish. And first one's always the scariest. So why not do pure pen? This is watercolor paper, so it should hold out quite well. And I think we're talking here. Let's see, the closer I get, the bigger they have to be. So I think we're talking something about right here. Yeah. And we're just gonna add a little bit. Oh boy, I'm being so like cautious about this. Here we go, little whale right there. Goes up and down and over. Like I said, this is just the artist proof. So this is the kind of test run, but still is the first one I've done of adding watercolor to a print. There we go. And then they've got this like little bit right here on the tail. Gosh, whale tails they feel so funny because they're like this amorphous thing connected to an enormous critter. Like here's, for the record, here's the whale that the tail's attached to, but it's just like this, you know, that's all we see. above water. Like there's so much to it, and then that's the rest of it, except for when they come out of water, which is rare and almost never. But it's okay. We have a whale right there, and then let's put another one diving, but maybe right here. That way it doesn't kind of look like it's, sort of a sea serpent side of things. There we go. So we're gonna just add a little bit of this top of that kind of, what is that, a dorsal fin? Yeah, dorsal fin. Okay, so that's what it looked like. Super fancy, as you can tell. And then let's add just a touch of some watercolor in there just to see how it dries and how it feels. Questions. Oh yes, saw the Mount Marathon sketch on the actual race. Didn't turn out too good because of the rain. Can you tell me who won the race? Yes, Claire won for women's, absolutely crushed it, and then David Norris won for men's, also absolutely crushed it. But it was a pretty harrowing day. What's amazing to me is that I think there's only 2 or 3 dropouts. So only 2 or 3 people DNF'd or did not finish, which is unbelievable, like considering the conditions. I DNF'd. I was like, nope. I left early, but just the resolve, pretty incredible. Okay, so here we go. A little bit of just some watercolor on the edges to kind of show that disturbance in the water. A little bit of disturbance in the force. A couple more waves here and there too. This is working well. And so for scale, here's the big thing too. That feels pretty good. And then we just need a little bit of the rest. Let's see. These are truly incredible. Love the personal touch. Isn't this kind of fun? Well, and I feel like this is the kind of thing too where like it feels like a sketch, and that's in particular like what I'm really going for this one is you can see like I'm not hiding these edges, like the little bits of pencil that go across the edge. You can even see kind of where some of the outlines happen, and I'm not hiding any of that because there's something just so special about like when you can actually like see what made something, like that's what's so cool to me. And so for prints, or at least the things that I create, I want to be able to show like my fingerprints, so to speak. And in this case, every single print will have these little bits to finish up. So for sketches, I'm both trying to end with not totally finishing it, because I think that's really cool and a little bit vulnerable, but also for the print side of things, I'm going to try to make a print, but not quite finish it. Okay, so here we go. Let's get the last little bit here. Raced it back in 2024, not knowing what was getting into. A friend told me to apply as a joke, and sure enough, won the lottery. Oh no, yeah, Justin, that is a Mount Marathon is a wild one. It's interesting too. Like that's for me. That's kind of where I got started on filmmaking. Was I saw Mount Marathon and I was like, I don't get this, and there weren't any films that I could see. These are articles, but I'm not really much of a reader, and it was like I need to understand how on earth does this? It doesn't make sense. So got a camera, went up on race day, and made a little film, and then did another, and it's like that's where it starts. You cut your teeth on the community you're familiar with, and the mountain running and the trail running community kind of got me my whole start in all of this, which is so cool. There we go, whale and whale. Doesn't seem like much, but also that is that kind of gives everything scale when you look at it. Oh, I love that. That's great. Okay, cool. That feels very good. I like where that's going. Does Mount Marathon, do the Mount Marathon put the race on, or do they hire you? Does the Mount Marathon people who put the race on, do they hire you? No, I got a little media badge. Matthias is the current race director, does a great job, and if I ask for a media badge, they'll give me one. But I think sometimes you do things for the community without anything in return, and then the universe kind of brings it all back in a good way. Okay, so now we're gonna put one of these eagles right here. Gotta figure this piece out now. So one of these eagles is gonna go up there. So we gotta get, yeah, good call on the double whales, by the way, Dr. Jude. That is definitely the way to go. The one in front, the one behind. So, okay, with his eagles, I think I'm gonna make the eagle just a touch bigger because it was kind of flying a bit closer, but we'll see. I probably should not be freehanding any of this stuff. Okay, here we go. The paper alone is so expensive. Like, it's, these prints are crazy. Worth it, totally worth it. But it's like, wow, this is quality that I feel like only watercolor artists would appreciate. But as a watercolor artist making these prints, it's like, that's what we're gonna do. That's what we got. I wanted to feel real, and it does now. But oh my goodness, this is a lot. Okay, so we have a little bit of this eagle, and then its wings cut up like this. I do wonder if this will get any easier after I do a bunch of these, or if this is always going to be kind of scary. Sometimes those things are just always scary. It's like the mountains, the never summers. In watercolors, they're the always scaries. Was in Alaska for the solstice, but didn't see you on the mountain. I didn't go up on the mountain. Oh, I made it 11 hours on the solstice and made a sketch that I actually really love. I got kind of the inspiration while up there, but I actually got pretty overwhelmed by the landscape. It was so pretty, and I'd never streamed for that long before. So I kind of got overwhelmed and ended up going down because it was Father's Day. I wanted to spend time with the kiddos. So that felt like the most important thing. But I am intrigued about doing another kind of full day with camping and finding some way to kind of take a bit of a break when needed. Okay, there we go. That feels pretty good also. Sorry. This is the eagle right there. Yeah, I like this one actually. It feels like an eagle. That is good. That is what I want it to be. Okay, and then a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. And there we go. You can see one eagle, two whales. Seeing daylight past midnight is crazy. What's interesting too is like there is night, but it's because of I think daylight savings time. It kind of gets shifted a little bit, so it's like we have night at like 2, but that's it. It's a strange thing, isn't it? Okay, so we need now to fill in this eagle right here, and scoot this over right here, and then we're gonna see what this looks like finished. Which is strange that I haven't actually seen this print finished, and I've already made a set of them. So maybe a mistake. Okay, a little bit here. We're just going to add a touch right there. The nice thing is we get some forgiveness with this paper because it is watercolor paper. I need a tissue, not for my nose, but for, there we go, for the paper. I just wanted to dab this off by a second. Wow, that is a good print. That is a good sign. It's like when you have like a fake snake or something that keeps on scaring you. When you have a print and you're kind of like, oh shoot, right, don't touch this, it's still wet. Okay, so there we go. So we got a little bit of, there we go. So we have a little bit of this one, and let's add the beak last. Here comes the last little bit. We got this nice burnt sienna. I'm actually gonna start calling burnt sienna bald eagle brown, because that's what it is. And bald eagles came along way before anybody named anything burnt sienna. Yeah, we get that nice kind of bald eagle brown. And part of the reason that I really want this one in here in particular is it's a pretty blue painting. It was a pretty blue day. Not blue sky, but blue. And the landscape had a lot of these cool colors, but were these pops of color, and they'd really stand out, and the eagle is definitely one of them. Like when it showed up, it was like it just felt very blue. Sorry, the landscape felt very blue, so the eagle just like really seemed like it kind of stood out. So we'll just do a little bit more of this brown. There we go, and we'll add in some shading in a little bit. Let's see the close up here. Oh wait, this is a tripod. I can just leave this, can't I? Ta-da. Okay, so we're just gonna use a little bit of this brown right there. But it's only gonna go to right there because the tail is in fact white. Okay, and how are we doing? Yeah, feeling pretty good actually on this one. That looks great. I'll take it. And when you zoom right out, there you go. You can kind of, actually not very easily, but when I remove all of this stuff, you get to start to see kind of a picture. And with the eagle in there, I think that's where it really is. Yeah, that feels really good. I feel like this is kind of bringing it to life. So cool. So cool. Okay, so the next piece of this puzzle is going to be figuring out how we mat this, and that's going to determine what kind of the title down here looks like. So I have a little mat. Sorry, what am I saying? I have an enormous mat. This is a 16 by 20, so the mats are going to be here. This scale is off. One of the things I changed was I switched up the scale, so maybe I shouldn't even look at this one. Yeah, maybe we skip this one. The scale is going to look like this. Am I right on that? Yeah, I am. The scale is going to look like this. Scoot this out of the way. Bring this one back in. So here's what the scale is going to look like. And the question is kind of where do I put titles and signatures and all of that jazz? There's some fun print etiquette. For instance, you use pencil because pencil is super hard to fake. You can create a signature with a pen and it will look how it's going to look because pencils are variable and like under a microscope you can see all kinds of different little stuff. It's impossible, from what I understand, to kind of replicate it so you know if it's real or not with pencil. So probably pencil, and then I'm thinking kind of down here. Yeah, that feels pretty good. But isn't this kind of fun? Little mat just like whoosh, comes right to life. Definitely one of the more nerve-wracking part. All the calls. Let's see. This is so awesome. Excited to add one of these to my collection. We also have the Mount Marathon triptych you did a few years ago. Oh my gosh, very cool. That is Tofu Smuggler. What a great name. That is one of my favorites. I love that one, especially because it's got so much like recognizable in the the form of Fred Moore and all the rest. This one I love because it's when you look at like the salt water of Resurrection Bay did such interesting things to the texture. I love it when a piece has elements of the thing you're painting in it. It's so cool to me. I just love that so much. Okay, well, let's get these other two artist proofs up and running. So let's put some whales in here, and then we'll figure out what it looks like to sign this stuff, and then we'll move on to the real ones because they are going, which is kind of cool. Obviously I like that. This is what's going to help fund wild and crazy adventures. But I like knowing where these are going to, which is like so fun. All right, whale time. So let's get right back to it. A couple whales. So we had our initial whale, whale 1, and then whale 2. Got that pectoral fin. That kind of dive bend. I wonder what whales think is the most iconic thing for them. It's like we always see whales and we're just like, oh yeah, it's the fluke. It's when they're doing this, but that's just because that's all we can see above the water. I wonder what a whale would be like is their main pose. Especially considering like what we as humans, it's probably like running full stride. Like that's the human pose or something like that. But I wonder what a whale would consider its pose to be. Maybe just like mouth open, eating krill. Okay, so here we go. A little bit of a whale right there. The nice thing too is I do feel like the more time I do this, like I think once I kind of speed up the process, I think that's when it will really. Where'd my eagle go? I just had an eagle here somewhere. There we are. Nope, wrong eagle. Here we go. I do think that the kind of the looser I can get, the better this is going to be. Okay, eagle number 2. I think that just really only happens when you kind of just do things a couple times. There we go. At some level too, I think this is a better signature than like anything I'll actually write. Especially because my signature is kind of a boring one. I used to do like really fancy scribbly. And then I was like, that's not how I write. I write in block letters. And my grandma, her signature was in block letters too. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So my signature is in block letters, which I kind of feel bad sometimes because, occasionally someone will be like, oh, that's cool. They'll see a movie or something like, that's great. Can you sign my, a film festival brochure? They'll get like all the directors or something to do that. And on prints, I'll often sign, but it's like, I have my block letter signature and they're like, oh, can you sign it? It's like, well, I kind of did. Like those blocky letters are me, but I'll write it again. Okay, eagle right there. And then we got its tail. And gotta get that scribblies. Okay, eagle number 2. And whales kind of further back in the shore. So, just switch this over. There we are. Okay, let's get some whales, let's get some eagles, and then we'll be able to see how this really shapes out. Whales first. The nice thing is basically just pure indigo. So, what are you going to do? But like I said, yeah, Friday, planning on a big adventure, and I'll culminate in a live. So my plan is to kind of start finding some of my grandma's sketches, and Eve has been very encouraging of like, you should just go do the thing. And I'm the kind of person too who like, when I get nervous, I'll do everything before the thing, which could actually just be ADHD. But like oh right, shoot, I forgot to put my little waves. I'll be able to do that afterwards. But it's like, same with paintings. You wait till you're perfectly ready, but you'll never be perfectly ready. It's just naturally how it goes or how it doesn't. So I think this is one of those cases too where her sketches feel so like important. It's like you only get to find it for the first time once. So this Friday I'm going to try to find a sketch for the first time again, but try this new kind of technique, which should be really, really interesting. It's basically where I'll use the entirety of an accordion journal as the story. So it'll kind of start and end in the accordion journal, and I think it should be kind of a good test. Better to test things out in your backyard too than like waiting until you're in Antarctica. I think that's the other thing too. Is like, oh, once I'm in a beautiful, gorgeous place, then I'll try the fancy thing, or then I'll try the the technology or whatever it is. But don't wait till you're somewhere amazing. Like, oh, hold on, a thing happened. What is this thing? Just got an email notification. Did somebody get one of these? What happened? I must know now. Gmail. There we are. Normally email notifications are scary. These ones are not, because I get to see where these go. Oh, yes, somebody did. Oh my gosh. Olivia. Oh, so cool. Oh, it's going to Alaska. Happy day. Great. Oh, very fun. It's cool. It's like a painting gets adopted or something, It's so neat. It's like, oh, yay. It's like it gets to find its home. These are up and running to the public too. We had these only available to members for the first little bit, but there's several left, so that's great. One is going to Eagle River. Okay. And here is our eagle. We'll call that one good. Now I'll just move back down to these whales, add a couple little streaks. You can kind of see they kind of look like they're floating without just a touch of something in the water there. You definitely kind of need some shadows to kind of bring them to life. It's kind of fun. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, but it's like that last, the last little brush stroke kind of brings something to life, and it's like doing that now twice. It's like, whoa, right, okay, it feels a little bit like cheating, it's like the finishing touches of a sculpture or something. It's like, yeah, you're only supposed to put that on like after the month of carving, but no. In this case, we got to do it a few times. Still pretty cool. Okay, and then let's go back to our original eagle, finish that one up, and then this one should be dry, and then let's see how these things, let's see how these stack up, literally, when you put a frame on it. Frames are weird with art too. Frames do this magical thing where they turn it into art, and I don't know why this is. It's kind of like photos and album covers, there's that filter where you can kind of turn your photo into an album cover, and all of a sudden it looks like art and you see it in a different way, even if it's sort of weird looking. Frames do that with artwork, where we put just a box around it, and people tell us not to. They're like, don't put me in a box. Do put you in a box. It'll make you artwork. And it just like all of a sudden it gets fancy. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is, but it is. And it's definitely the case of this. So we'll have a test run here in just 1 second where we'll actually be able to see this. Okay, eagles, check. Feet of eagles, not check. Let's go add one of those. Very important to add some yellow for the beak, yellow for the feet. There we go. There's an eagle. Ta-da! Oh, right. Let's add maybe a touch of blue for the tail here. That's too much blue. Oh my goodness. All right, there we go. Ta-da! There it is. So this is kind of what a finished one will look like. Right here. This is, well, terrible light, but you can kind of see. So we got the eagle, Mount Marathon, and the whales, and then that's so fun. Okay, we'll let that one dry. These are big prints. Let's finish this one up because this one's the right scale, and then let's add just a touch of the last little bit. So we're going to have a little bit of its yellow feet. Just like that. A little bit up here. There we are. The tail itself, I need to add just a touch. But yeah, that feels really good. And then you got, the whales are feeling really good down here. So we just need a little bit of that tail. And I think that would do just fine. And then let's add a little bit of just a little bit in there, going up. Oh, wonderful. Yes, that will do it. I love that. That is cool. Oh, wait, hold on. More things are happening. Did another one go? Oh my gosh, another one went too. More in Anchorage. Kelly got one. Oh man, this is so cool. It's like the coolest as an artist. It's the coolest thing having your artwork in just like in places. I mean, it's really cool, especially in places where but just like having your artwork out there is just, it's so cool. If you're not an artist, there's one thing you can do to There's a lot of things you can do. One of the most important things you can do to encourage other artists is ask to have one of their pieces. This will also usually break an artist. So somebody's like, that's amazing. Can I have it? Can I buy it? Usually the artist is like, it's like somebody who doesn't know how to take a compliment, and it'll kind of break their mind, but it's good for them. And even if it's like not a ton or something like that, it's like, it just means it means the most. Or just saying nice things to an artist. We are fickle creatures, but it's amazing how much that goes. Maybe there's some kid drawing. Kids don't need too many compliments. They know what they're doing. But if you ever see like somebody sketching in public or something like that, or if they're kind of concerned, like just a compliment here or there just goes it's like magic. All right, so we have this, and now we're gonna put a mat on it, and then we're gonna see where we sign this thing. Most prints get signed. That's kind of the idea about prints, or at least limited edition prints. But we're taking this definitely to another level by actually adding some elements. But you can't forget the signing part. It's important. Okay, so just like that, it would go right there. And let's see. I'm gonna tape it to the back of this frame. Anyway. The old acid-free tape, very key. Keep it archival. And let me just scoot this over, make sure we're in a good spot here. And I'm just gonna tape the back of this. Oh, already moved it. Take the back of it so it can't move, and then let's figure out where we're gonna sign this thing. For the title, I'm thinking Mount Marathon, Seward, Alaska. Keep it simple. The place does all the speaking for you. That's kind of what I love about it. But sometimes you need to label it just so that in case somebody isn't in the know. Okay, here's a little bit of this. Zoom that out so you can kind of see. And then I just gotta do one of these. Okay, and then we flip it and reverse it. Missing tape. Finding tape. Okay, and then we're just gonna quickly do this. The irony is this is for an artist proof, and so this one doesn't even count. But it is a limited set. It's going to take me a while to do all of these, but I'm only doing 74. And the reason is because Mount Marathon every year is held on July 4th, so 7.4. So that's why there's only 74 of these. I might be regretting it. I might be wishing that I stopped at 50, because I think these are going to take quite a bit of time. But they look gorgeous, so that's fine. All right, here we go. So this is what it looks like with a frame. If you can kind of see. Ta-da! I'll just spin this one around. Ta-da! So this is what it'll look like with a frame. You can kind of see all that detail in there. This one too, the reason that this one is artist proof is a bit darker. So like the ink and the composition just turned out a bit darker than it felt. So that's what this looks like. And now we've just got to figure out where we're going to put these titles and see how that all kind of works out. This is a mat. Oh yeah, sorry, you're right. This is a mat, but the mat goes into a frame. So this, I often find I mat stuff, like, it feels fancy. Kind of depends on where you're going. This makes it feel a bit more like a painting. Just framing it would make it feel like a really cool sketch, but you can't go wrong too with any of them. All right, what are we gonna do for text? Okay, so Mount Marathon. Gotta write this stuff down. Here's one of these. This might be the most scary part because it involves spelling, which is not my forte. This is a 1 inch. Nope, that one's too thick. Let's try this. 0.5. It's close. Let's see. Let's consider if I have a 0.8, that'll be perfect. Question, do I have 0.8? find out. Setting up for it, right? I feel very clever. Whether anybody else notices or not, that's fine. But I think that I like that stuff. Okay, we'll try this. This is f.5, but it's just nicer. So it would be Mountain Marathon, and it's not Mountain Marathon or MT dot marathon. It is Mount Marathon. I always get in trouble for getting that one wrong. MOUNT Marathon, and then below maybe Seward, Alaska. Let's see. What would look at comma Seward, Alaska. What do you think? I need some feedback here. Good? Bad? Doing something like that? So it'd be Mount Marathon, Seward, Alaska. Or, I suppose I could just do... Let's see. Also, I'm going to say goodbye to Instagram because I need my... I need spell check back. Adios. I'll be on Twitch. I am on Twitch and YouTube. So if anybody's looking for it, I'm live Wednesdays, Fridays. It's very cool. Check it out. I just had to show this kind of cool stuff, which is really fun. All right. Adios. And now, do not save. Okay. So Mount Marathon. I'm just gonna make sure I spell this right. The amount of times that I have like put wrong things into like videos that have gone out and everything like that, it's pretty bad, especially because they're often like when I worked for Solomon, they're all French, so they wouldn't catch it and I wouldn't catch it, but then they'd expect me to catch it because I speak English, but it's like, please, like I barely have a grasp of the English language. Mount Marathon. Yes, MOUNTMARA Mara THON Seward SEWARD Alaska. Bully. Okay, so there's that, and then which side do numbers go on in a print? I'm a professional, please. Nope, in a pint. No, not a pint. Print. I now know which side. Okay, edition number goes on the bottom left. So bottom left is edition number. So this is edition number, bottom left. Okay, 1-74, and then 7.4, I'm going to say. And then the signature, title, signature. Okay. Measure twice, cut once, right? Isn't that what they say? All right, so here's this, and now let's see what it looks like, kind of, if it were, I think this is how we do it. I think we do it lengthwise right here. Let me try it again, written better. Mount Marathon, comma, okay. Should I just try it? I feel like that's a thing. Yeah, let's just give it a go. Let's try it out. Why not? Here we go. I make rash decisions all the time. So it'd be down here across the bottom. Where's the middle? Probably right here. Oh. Yep, okay, we're fine. To be about right here, down the middle. Let's try, it would take about that much space, which is approximately the mountain. So if you follow the mountain's line, that's where you'd start and that's where to end. Gotta remember, this is artist proof, so it's gonna be okay. Start the artist line right here. So right here, Mount Marathon. MOUNT Oh, it does write differently too. This is interesting. It's like the difference between the back and the front. Marathon. Comma. So this one, I should have gone lower. You can kind of see it's sort of button up. Yeah, I need to just put it lower. This is good to know. This is definitely good to know. Mount Marathon, Stewart, Alaska. And then signature over here. And then here's the artist. So for print, so I'd now do this right here below the whales, and I'd say AP, which is going to be artist proof. Actually, I'd really kind of do it here, but AP is now means artist proof. A-P. Okay, and that's a, oh man, this looks really good now. Oh, it's magic. Aside from the fact that I did it way too kind of like up in the side, but look at that. Okay, so now it's a print. Now it's like real. How cool is that? So I just need to know I need to move it down about like a half an inch. And then I'm gonna be in fine shape. But that's pretty neat. Oh man. I would just bust out the old level laser perfection. This is where I'd bust out the laser level. Perfection is not art. It's good though. It's good. Okay, cool. So that's the test. Now it's official.
Hello.
Hey Kip, how you doing?
Good.
Good. Do you want to come see my picture?
Yep.
Were you getting in trouble inside?
No. I
You might
picked
even get in
some
trouble.
parsley.
You picked some parsley.
My mama was making a cake and I picked it to put in the cake, but Mama didn't think we put parsley in the cake.
She doesn't think you put parsley in a cake. Hey, you want to come see my picture?
Yep.
Here, come on up. You want me to lift you up? Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
What do you think?
I like it.
What's your favorite part?
Is you do the whole thing yet?
Yeah. What do you think? Oh, is it because there's like these edges, like there's white space?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like it like that. It looks like a nice sketch.
Are you gonna leave it like that?
I think I added some whales and I added an eagle. Do you think anything else is missing?
No.
Okay. What's your favorite part? Do you know that? That's Seward. That's where we were just last week. And then that's an eagle and that's some whales.
The whole thing, Seward?
Yes, that's all of Seward right here. And then there's Mount Marathon.
Hippo, out of here.
I heard you picked some parsley for your cake.
Also, for your followers, here's a saga.
Okay.
I want to bake
Saga.
this cake, right?
Uh-huh.
And I don't even think about whether we have eggs anymore because we usually have a surplus of eggs.
Yeah.
We currently do not have a surplus of eggs. We had to wait for a chicken to lay an egg for breakfast.
We did.
So I went in to check for eggs. There were 3 eggs in there. The recipe calls for 4 eggs. I thought, well, our eggs are pretty big. I can probably do it with 3 eggs. So I'm washing the eggs off in the sink, right? And the sink backs up. So I run the garbage disposal. The eggs are clean. I put them in the bottom of the sink as I'm just getting everything else out. What happens? One of the eggs falls down the garbage disposal.
No!
So now I'm down to 2 eggs.
What are you going to do? You just wait for a chicken to lay an egg? We have 2 chickens.
They're
This
not
is where a
gonna
third
lay
chicken will
eggs
come in really
today.
helpful. No, they're not.
I don't know what I can do. I also don't have enough sugar, but that was maybe it's doomed. With the egg saga.
You could always use like, what is it, like avocados or something instead of eggs? Isn't that a thing?
Flaxseed.
Flax seeds, yeah.
That's not quite the vibe I'm going for.
Delicious. Sounds
I don't
healthy.
know what I'm gonna do.
And we need a neighbor who we can ask for eggs from.
We do. Well, we got salmon from our last neighbor.
That's true.
That was good. Yesterday, our neighbors came back after a big salmon run, and they're like, "Do you want some salmon?" We're like, Yes. Actually, we didn't say that. She just came over holding 2 fillets of salmon. She said, here. Just gave me 2 fillets of just filleted salmon. So that's what we had for dinner last night, and it was delish. Okay, so there we go. Here's this one. Let's start getting. Let's get this other one. Let's get this next artist proof ready, and then we're into it. What is this one? Why does this feel so? This one feels huge. What's the deal with this? One moment. Sounds like my day. Oh no, what happened, Tina? Did you also have a chicken fiasco? Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so these are the real deals. This one is just a little too close to the edge, so it would kind of cut stuff off, and you can see there's a few of these little mismatchy bits. Let's do it. Let's practice up on this, and then we're off. We're off to the big deals, the real deals. The one that you might end up with if anybody's ordered one, and there's several people who just had. We're about to start on the ones that you might go home with. All right, so here is cake baking failure. Oh no. It's hard. It's straight up chemistry too. I mean, like the cake side of things is pretty incredible. Like that is even a thing that can be done effectively. Like, wow, it's so cool. As a person who is a big fan of eating cakes, I am amazed. Although, I think cake is great, but it is so hard to beat like a yellow vanilla cake right out of the oven. Like the smell, everything about it. Ooh, so good. Okay, so we're just going to do a little bit of this tail right here. This is a slightly bigger whale, but that perspective is a pretty forgiving one on this. There's that, and then let's put ye old diving whale down here. There we go. What the Mount Marathon race really taught me this year was that I need to have some gear that can deal with some pretty inclement weather. I think that was one of my main learning moments. If you caught the race side of things, what actually kind of did me in was the streaming device couldn't handle it, which is interesting that everything else kind of went wrong, but that was what was really the end. But I am also all about just like finding some cozy places. I feel like we should use this channel as an excuse to go find the coziest, most interesting places to go sit and sketch in, and then use whatever live streaming clout we have to go convince our way to let us into a castle or something, or whatever it is, whatever interesting spot it would be to go paint. All right, there's some whales. Now just zip over here. Let's get an eagle. And I think it's right here. The trick is going to be getting comfortable, but not so comfortable that I start getting bad. It's like if you ever practiced an instrument. There's like a part where you start practicing and it's worse, and then during the day you continue and you get better until eventually you start to get worse again, and then you go to sleep and you wake up and all of a sudden you start from up here and then you follow the same cycle. So I feel like this is one of these where it's like, okay, let's get really good at this and then kind of pause here before I start to get worse. But this is really lovely to have proofs, especially when proofs cost this much on sheets of paper. Worth it. Always worth it. If I won the lottery, I would just live in an art store, but it'd be mine. I'd have so much paper. right there. There's one of these. Here's that secondary. And then we've got those little tiny silly eagle feet. Talons, I suppose you call them, but when they're all kind of, my favorite part is when eagles fly and they're kind of like, the little legs are down. Just look like they have pants on. Hello, Kippo again.
Why are there steaks?
Why are there stakes? Oh, because I had 10 stakes to try to anchor myself down to a mountain when it was blowing so hard for Mount Marathon. Didn't work very well.
Why?
Because there was a lot of wind. There was quite a bit of wind. Okay, and here is...
Because they bolt your tent down?
That's the idea, yeah. Tent stakes kind of, they hold your tent down to the ground if they can. Sometimes they can't.
They're strong.
They are very strong, yes.
Can I go?
Okay, here we are,
No,
just a little
the
bit right
way
there.
Dada,
Uh-huh.
has ever seen a whale and an eagle?
Yep, we got the whale and the eagle. That's what's missing, so we're adding those in to each of them.
Why?
So that they're each a little bit different, and they each have a little bit of that watercolor magic in them, because that's what's fun to share, and I feel like you can see it. You like watercolor, don't you?
Can I do watercolor soon?
I think soon, yeah, maybe tonight. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Got a plan. It's a date. Okay, so here is our whales. That feels pretty good. Yeah, I like that a lot. Maybe I even add a little bit of spackles too. So I could just get a little bit of this and just kind of... maybe something a little bit lighter. Oh yeah, I kind of like that. That does add a kind of nice element of randomness too. You add a couple little of those and like you can't copy any of this. This year is the toughest weather year for spectators. Not too bad for the racer side. I don't know, that looked pretty cold up there. But it's true, the amount of people who bailed are shockingly low. I think only like 2 people bailed. I did have a thought too, and let me know if you think this would be silly. I was thinking of giving away some of these artist proofs, because they're excellent prints, and you know, they mean a lot on somebody's wall. I was thinking of giving away these artist proofs to the person on the men's side and the person on the women's side who ran the slowest time, because there's all these accolades always given to, you know, David Norris or Claire, you know, the fast people, but the slow people spend the most time on the mountain, and if anything are the ones who work the hardest, because it's not super easy for them either, but they're there for longer. So I'm thinking about reaching out and seeing who those are and doing one of those with some of these artist proofs, because I feel like that would mean a lot to them. Or maybe they had a rough day that race and they're just like, I want nothing to do with this mountain ever again. So maybe it wouldn't be. But we'll see. That's potentially who these ones that we just made would be for. Okay, a little bit of that bald eagle brown. Just adding the last little bits. There we are. Wouldn't that be amazing? It's always been a community race for all. Yeah. Well, I think that's what's so cool for me is like that's the real trick too. Is you got to find your community, and they'll uplift you to anything. I'm not necessarily. I've run the race once and it was cool, but I'm like, no, I like my knees, I like my legs too much. Not super interested in doing that again, but I think what's so amazing is like that Mount Marathon, like the running community is what made so much of my filming early happen, and the art side and the connection, all of that. was a result of that running community. And it's a small community, but like for anybody here, you know, if you're ever struggling with something that feels like you're going to need everybody, don't try to find everybody, because you never will. Start with those little communities, and it's amazing. Like they can make the world have. Exhibit A, like we're right here. What do we have? 15 on YouTube, 16 on Twitch. But like I feel like we could take on the world right now. You know, there's 31 of us, 32 of us, if you include myself. There's 32 of us right now, and like I honestly feel like we can do some wild stuff. This Friday, I'm going to be chasing one of these sketches in a whole different way. And there's no funding, there's no anything. Well, there's now too, because look at this. We've got prints that are actually turning into stuff. But it's okay, you got my sword. Thank you. But it's yeah, it's so interesting how it's like you just need these little communities. They'll get you started like a little fish in a tide pool, or a salmon in a little stream, and then you can go out to the big wide scary ocean. But you start in that stream. You don't want to start in the big wide scary ocean. Start small. Start with those little communities, little tide pools. Mountain running might seem obscure, but together you can kind of take on anything. Okay, there we go. Bald eagle, check. I really, really like how these turn out. Oh my gosh, it makes it like. Honestly, it's so cool. It's just like that right there. Just it makes the whole print for me. I just love it. Oh, and then the whales. Oh, it's so neat. Okay, we're just gonna add a couple little spackles because I really like that look now too. So what I'm doing is I get a little bit of some blue and a touch of green here, and I'm kind of watering them down a bunch. Getting that nice watery mixture on my brush, and then putting a couple right there, and then same here. And that's just going to be another one of those little things that's just a little bit unique on each of these. I'll do it for one more. And then we're on to the real. Now, I don't know if anybody caught it too, but Connor alluded to some stuff that's going on this summer where Maya and co are going to be coming up to Alaska, which I am really, really excited about. Partially because Maya and Connor are the best. And I'm sure more of the Alveus community is too. I would love to connect with more. Like, it's such a big, deep community. It's so cool. And like maybe do a paint along or something. But they're coming up to Alaska, which is going to be so fun. And like to see some of the wildlife up here, because especially like conservationists, you know, I feel like people just assume Alaska is just wild and that's it. And that's how it always will be. But you need exposure, and you need people to care about these places, and they are some of the best. Hello.
We're going on a bike walk.
Going on a bike walk? Hey, nice jacket.
Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
I needed something that could go on.
This is really cute. Behold the. That's a good look. All right, have fun. Okay. All right, I think we're on to the real ones here. Let's do it. Where are they? Did I lose them? That was fast. Oh, here we go. All right. Here we go. So. This is it. This is the first one. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. We're going to start with a whale. A whale of a tail. Specifically this whale right here. And we're going to put it right. Just got to make sure I'm all lined up here. Put it right here. This is so scary. zoom in so you can feel the tension. Okay, whale right here. And goes over. There we go. Whale number 1. Here comes whale number 2. Yep, feels all right. I'll move on up to the eagle just while that dries, I think. Okay, eagle, eagle. Here we go. Last ones you'll be doing with my eyes closed. That's an okay thing. I wouldn't mind being able to draw an eagle with my eyes closed. Okay, I'm holding my breath though, I just realized. Breathe through it. Alright, there's one wing, and then here comes the other. What's interesting is the bald eagles are smaller than their babies. At least they look that way. The babies are kind of more floofy and have longer feathers. So you have these things that look like golden eagles. I had somebody who was convinced that they saw a golden eagle. And I was like, I don't think so. Not here. I mean, maybe there are golden eagles in Alaska, but like the baby bald eagles, they call it immature bald eagles. Not because they make rude jokes, but just because they're not quite like a full adult. They are huge. They just look absolutely massive compared to their parents, but they're also really clumsy, which is hilarious. Okay, and then we got this tail lining up right there. Okay, and there is that. Add a little bit of some of these, a couple of some of those. Here we go. Bald eagle number 1. All right, and now let's add just a touch more on the color side. So we have a little bit of some. A little bit right here. A little bit in the middle. Oh, I feel that sneeze coming back. Let's see if it happens. What a strange thing sneezes are. You ever think about that? Nope. Nope. Ugh. Ugh. The absolute worst. Okay, so here we go. Just a little bit in there. But yeah, with Connor and Maya coming up, I really need to start learning more in the way of like cool animal facts in Alaska. Or maybe I just need to start remembering like what is a cool animal that might be exciting for somebody else. Like a moose is not something we'd really consider like epic wildlife, but for a lot of people, mooses are very, 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 very cool. So I mean, I think they're very cool, but it's not worth stopping the car for kind of stuff, you know. It's a moose. But if you haven't been here for a minute or ever, moose are definitely worth seeing. Okay, a couple little random splotches, looking good. Let's move up to our eagle. Join the zoology gang? What's that? What is a zoology gang? Or is that just zoologists, just people in general? Or is there an actual gang? I'd be so into it if there's like a real gang. I also love to hear zoology, like gangster rap. Phylum, genus. When I was a genius. Okay, a little bit of that yellow on the beak. Too much yellow on the beak. It's all right. I think I can fix this. Yes, I can. Okay, now just adding a little bit of that brown in there. Bald eagle brown. I'm telling you, changing the name of burnt sienna. Too much stuff is burning anyway. We have a secret handshake and all. Amazing. Yes, I consider me interested. Okay, moving up just a little bit to the edge, a little bit to the side. I think I mentioned earlier, but I am looking into trying to get a camera that can zoom in a little better, so when things like bald eagles zoom overhead, I can do that. I know that the quality is pretty poor with how I currently do it. The camera I'm currently using is called a DJI Pocket, and it's great in most aspects aside from the zoom is a little rough, but there's a new one that came out, but it cannot be sold in America because America does not know how to play well with other countries. And so there's a version that you can get called Extra, like XTRA, that's just an entire, like a perfect clone, I think probably by the same company, that then just sells them, makes them in America and sells them there. So I reached out to them to see if anybody sees, they have these little things on Instagram where it's like, which content creator should we send one of these cameras to? That put me down. But they make one that's coming out shortly that has a zoom lens in it, which means that I could use it and share better animals. These are the kind of things I agonize, is like how to get around embargoes so that I can better show you a picture of a bald eagle. As I frantically try to like swivel the camera up and or the moose or the muskox or the whale or something like this, but it is worth it. It is so worth it. Right there. There we go. There's our whale. Check. And our bald eagle is almost done. Let's add just a touch more, just a little bit of the last little bits. Touch of some darker shades, sort of separates out the wings a little bit. That's what I'm doing, adding that in there. There we go. There we go. Oh my gosh, cool. There's the first one. Oh, we did it. We did it. There are 73 to go. But look, behold. Wow. Oh my gosh, this is so neat. All right, so now let's go see what it looks like in the mat, and then we'll sign, do all the stuff. Good shape there. Wow. We got a good chunk of these. Okay. That looks so fun. Okay, let's go see how this works. Your mat is being vacated. I'm sorry. This is the other thing too, is I made sure to make them a size that like any standard mat could come in. They're not the cheapest posters because, well, we're not posters, prints, because we're doing them fancy, but there's nothing more frustrating than having to get something custom framed because the mat size is weird or the frame size is weird. So these are just 16 by 20s. I have learned my lesson. You make them standard, and then my favorite thing is actually to go to like a Value Village or a what do you call them? Value Village or like a Goodwill. And sometimes you can find the most amazing frames there, because a lot of times somebody will have some old poster, but it'll be in a $300 frame or something, and so the poster might be nothing you're interested in, or worthless, and that's fine. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But you can take that poster out, find a new home for it, and then you have like a $400 frame. So that is great, because then you just buy a new mat like this for $10, maybe $20 if you're feeling wild and crazy. And all of a sudden, you have yourself a really great kind of rehomed frame. Okay, so here is this one. Flatten this down a little bit, try not to get too much cat hair, but hey, there's more authenticity. And then we're just going to quickly take this down. And this is going to be 1 out of 74, which is just so cool. Okay, getting it done. Now, if anybody's curious about what's going on this Friday, I'll be going to Portage, is the plan. Portage is both a place and a glacier. Well, the glacier has receded quite a bit, but you can find it. We made a really cool little letter, which we will be making more letters eventually. We're figuring out stuff like this, and then the letters going to happen. But we've made one of the letters, so you can see that, or you can see a couple films we made about the initial finding of the place, which is pretty cool. So I'll be returning there this Friday if you want to come check it out and follow along for the live. Okay, now's the scary part. Artist proof. How did we do this here? It's right below the mountain. Mount Marathon, Seward, Alaska. Where's my little spelling cheat sheet? There we go. Put this right here. Here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. So it would be directly below this mountain, right here, right here. Okay, Mount Marathon. Marathon. Comma. Seward. Alaska. There it is. Okay. And then we do the signature. And we number it. Here it is. Here it happens. Right here. So this is 1-74. Right here. 1-7.4. Ta-da! Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. And that's real. That's going to go to somebody. This is like an actual thing that's going to go into the world and be a real thing that we live streamed, that was a sketch, that is now a print, that became a painting, that is now like an actual signed thing that will then go to somebody's house. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I mean, I've done this before, but like for some reason this feels entirely different. I'm also going to be sending everybody little tiny handmade pins as well. So in each of like these, so package it very well. There's probably tubes and then another thing. So in each of these will be those. a couple little Trailbound Sketches Fox stickers, one of these, and potentially a couple other little goodies. Oh, and I need to do the statement of authenticity. These are key too. So do this on the linen. So right here we have one of these. This is what you do for one of these. So I'm just going to quickly fill this in. So this is a limited edition print. This is number 1 of 74, 2026. That's the date purchase. Here's the artist's signature. And on Wednesday the 8th, so 7.8.2026. And then this will go along with this and all kinds of other goodies, and then find its way to someone's home. Oh, so exciting. Yeah, I know. This is fun. I am so excited to make new things as well. Just so you know, like I'm so excited for the streams where we create, but like this alone could potentially help fund entire adventures. You know, like a good run of these could lead to a whole slew of sketchbooks found. Maybe not sketchbooks, sketches at least, which is just, it's so cool. It means a bunch. It's like growing your own food, right? You know, there's probably easier ways you can get it commercially, but when it comes from your own garden, it means more. It means so much more. Okay, there's one. Let's try to do maybe three more of these really quick, and then yeah, then it's kind of there. Well, there's so much, but it's still pretty cool. Already lost the pen. Found the pen. Okay, we're in good shape. All right, and back to it. Here we go. Start with the whale. A whale of a tail. Right here. Maybe next time I should like not make these so kind of crucial elements within the sketch. I should just do like I fill in a hiker's shirt. Something nice and simple. Okay, there's one. And now here comes the next. I had a thought the other day. There was a person who reached out and said that their kiddo has been inspired to sketch, and that they're bringing a sketchbook with them on adventures, and it just made me so happy. But it's also interesting because like a lot of people use paintings a lot of people use phones as a way to kind of capture memories. And it feels interesting because with all the cameras and everything, aside from the zoom ones, which I need to be able to zoom into bald eagles, must have this camera. Sorry, I get like obsessed with these things sometimes. But in so many ways, a lot of the cameras and everything are all just like higher megapixels, and you can get these cameras with unbelievable detail. But I saw this picture of this person who was they brought a sketchbook, a little trail tile, I think, and they made this wonderful, wonderful little sunset sketch. They both made one. And I could just tell like the memory that was locked into it. And it's so cool. Like it gets stuck in there, and it just makes me think with so many of these cameras that are just like purporting to have enough memory to be able to capture all the detail you could ever imagine, but then you can have a janky sketch. Like the quickest sketch you could imagine. I feel like that has more power to capture, maybe not more detail, but more memory than any camera. I don't care how billboard level quality it could capture. And yeah, it's just like I want to do more of that. I want to remind myself, like, don't Don't try to take it with the phone. Don't take the picture of the phone. Sit down, spend 4 minutes on a sketch. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. If you make it, you'll remember more. And that's kind of the point. There we go. We'll just kind of extend this wing out a little bit. There we go. Bald eagle. Check. But just thinking about, yeah, like the human memory card that's up here. Got a little bit over here. Sorry, speaking of deep thoughts, in the same breath too, I was also thinking about how it's interesting how, for me, I feel like sketching is the most present I am a lot of times. I'm saying like memories and capturing stuff. We have 2 small kids that are like growing up way too fast, and I think that's where a lot of this comes from. It's like, oh, like I want to capture this, and people always tell you to soak it up, but never how. And sometimes it's such a silly thing, but sometimes I'll be in one of those moments where it's like the sun is shining and everything is going well, and it's you know it's a wonderful memory. Like it's one of these things where it's like this feels like I just want to breathe in and soak it in and just like, but what happens in those moments is I'm like, oh shoot, this is amazing memory, quick, like capture it with your brain. And then I spend my time in that memory thinking about like, oh, I'll never be able to capture this. And I think what I'm learning is, for me, sketching is the most present I can be while still capturing something. You know, like during a barbecue or something, when you're not racing about, like it is the moment where you sat and you sketched and you like listen. Like for me, that is what I feel. And my mom has officially retired. Hot diggity. Congrats. She's retired and maybe inebriated for months. Oh dear, what is this? Oh, she got a gift basket of lots of wine. Okay, I was gonna say, uh-oh. That bad of a last day. I don't know where feelings that I'm not having a good job of expressing. But basically it's like, I do think that the more, I'm gonna take 3 seconds and actually gather my thoughts here. 1, 2, 3. Nope, they're still gone. I do think that for me, when people say, you know, soak up these moments, it always kind of feels like, what are you talking about? Like, how can you possibly soak up a moment like this? Like, what does that even mean? And then when I think about sketching, often I do take a photo with my camera, and I'm saying this out loud because I wonder if anybody else is having the same experience. It's like, oh, right, I'll take a photo with my camera and I'll paint this in later when I have more time. But you will never have more time. At least it has not happened to me yet. I just kind of assume it's like, oh, if I break a leg, then I'll do all this painting, and I'll be so glad I took 10 million pictures of this one landscape. But I will not. Hello from Oregon. Welcome. Sketching the last of some Alaska here. But every time I stop to actually take the time to make a sketch, I kind of remember the moment. And I'm not sure if I remember it because I'm making a sketch or if I remember it because the sketch forces me to take time. But either way, I remember it a whole lot better. And I think that's to me, like, that's what I want to start doing to taking time, is take less photos and make more sketches, because it forces me to slow down. So when people say, you know, soak these moments up because they won't last too long, it's not about doing a better job of soaking it up. Like, I think we all do a plenty good job of soaking it up if we can. What it's really about is like, when you don't have time, do the thing that you know captures it. And the thing that actually captures it might have nothing to do with the stuff that physically capture it. I don't know if that makes any sense. I've been having a lot of those big thoughts lately where it's like, oh boy, I feel this, and then cannot articulate it. It's there. It'll be there. It's not going anywhere, but one of those. All right, move him down into the whales. Here we go. Couple just humpbacks doing humpback things. Doing a great job of it too. I got an invitation with a friend with a boat to potentially go out and live stream someday and take us all on like a whale watch. So if you remember, if you saw this live, you saw those boats. He has a very small boat that is very nimble, and we could just go hang out in the middle of some whales, bubble netting, and just hanging about, just being a little piece of metal driftwood, basically. So if that would be of interest, let me know, and I can make something like that happen. Probably. Things are real busy, but they're not going to get any less busy, and I'm just learning how to do stuff around it. Okay, right here, another fluke. There we go. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, great. Sherry's in. All right, back to our little bald eagle up here. Little, quite large. We're going to do a little bit of some brown, mixed a touch of some indigo. Gives us a nice kind of brown. Another bald eagle brown. Oh man, some of my favorite bald eagles I've ever seen have been like real bedraggled ones. Bald eagles in the rain are so funny. It's kind of like a poodle that got wet a little bit sometimes. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in the rain, so I can't really complain too much, but yeah, bald eagles in the rain, love them. Okay, and do a little bit of splatters here and there. We'll do a bit of blue, maybe a touch of green down here. There we are. And then let's just add a little bit of some green up here. And we'll put a bit up here as well. There we go. Okay. Hopefully they're dry underneath. They have amazing feathers. I think they're often dry underneath, but they look undignified, which I love. I'm just kind of like, maybe not bedraggled, but yeah, I love the look. Okay, so right here, Mount Marathon. A little lower. Spell it right. Mount Marathon. Comma, Seward, Alaska. Seward, Alaska, Eagle Reality TV. Those are easy to find. That I could find you. Quick signature here. And then number 2 out of 74. Okay, and I'll go fill out that little card here in a second. But there we go. Round 2. Ta-da! It's getting real. It's happening. This is very cool. This is very, very, very cool. All right, like I said, we're gonna do 4 right now. So let's jump into number 3. What I just realized is kind of fun, the cards that have the certificate of authenticity will not have the eagle or the whale in them, but that happens. Let's see, you're gonna draw 74 eagles, yes, and 248 whales. Yeah, Yes. Yeah. I'm not sure if I like it how you put it like that, but no, that is the truth. Yes. For some reason, doing less prints this way seemed like it would make more sense. Yeah. It's an interesting point you make there. Yeah, part of me is definitely like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do less prints. I'm doing bigger prints. They cost a bit more, so I'll be able to sell less and still make enough money for adventures. And now I can have time to authenticate them. But you're entirely right. That does make things a little bit more exciting, doesn't it? Okay, so here goes. Let's see, whale number 1 is right up here. Right there. Yep, definitely can't exactly like make a stamp on this, can you? Will be interesting if I mess up anything, because usually my oh, hello, got some raiders. Hello, magical quill. Welcome. I'm just working on the last little bit. I got a little sketch here of Mount Marathon in Seward, Alaska, and I am just adding the last little bit of some whales and the last eagle or two. So you think I'd be getting good at it, but they're still a little nerve-wracking each time. How was tell me of your journeys. How was the stream? What were you up to? Painting? Writing? We're about to draw several magical quills in the form of a bird. Quills pre losing the feather. Quills on the source. A bald eagle quill would be a pretty cool one. I think a federal offense, but a pretty cool one. Okay, so we got this, and now let's move up here and let's do our bald eagle. This is kind of what we're aiming for. This is the general shape. So we're gonna add a bald eagle right up here. For some reason, this makes me feel the most nervous, I think. The little hooked beak, and that little head, little big head. Quite an enormous head, in fact. But that's always the most nerve-wracking part here. Okay. Like one step away from making a vulture. A streaming hand spinning. Oh, neat. But we got talking about the far north, and we thought we'd come over and see art from your region. Oh, well, thank you. Also, anybody on my stream, if you're looking for some cool fiber arts, the hand spinning is awesome stuff. My wife does, she has a wheel, but she does all the kind of hand spinning and sewing side of things, and it is, oh my gosh, such high skill level. In fact, my grandma, she's the one who inspired me to paint. Her real shtick was quilting. Like, she kept all these sketchbooks and made watercolors, mostly like as a way of imagining more quilts, I think. So the fiber arts go real in our family, which is, the bug has not bitten me yet, but I respect it so much. That is so cool. Well, welcome to the north. This is Mount Marathon. This is in Seward, Alaska, which is mile 0 of the highway. Ooh, ouch, hold on. Something in the eye. Woo! You ever get one of those moments where you're kind of like real sharp pain all of a sudden? It's like, oh, is this the end? And then it disappears. And you're like, no, guess not. Yeah, so Seward, Alaska, mile 0 on the Alaska, the highway, or the train station. This is kind of like the port that you would get into Alaska from. And it's still this cute little awesome town, this massive mountain race. So I tried to sketch the mountain race. It was a rough one, and ended up making a really fun sketch of the actual mountain from across the bay. This is Resurrection Bay, and I used water from the bay to paint this painting, which is so fun because it just like creates this really cool effect. But it's also just fun putting the landscape in the actual landscape. And now we're just adding the final little details. This is a print which we just released today, and I'm augmenting every single one. So every single print I'm adding an eagle and some whales too, because I printed them on like fancy watercolor paper, so I can do that. But I'm wondering, because it does mean I'm gonna have to make 248 whales by the end of this. Which You know what? They say like think before you leap, or what are they? I don't know. Think before you print is really what it should be. Love connecting to art in the place is tangible. Yeah, well, and this Friday I'll be doing some more of it. So this Friday I'll be in Portage, which is another kind of like spot on the way to Seward, and I'll be doing most of my streams I try to do outside. So kind of Wednesdays are the studio days, and Fridays are the outside days. We were talking about I did a spin. Oh, to where you spin yarn during the Iditarod. Interesting. Do you try to like spin? Is it like where you try to work with a team? I know there's like Idita bikes and Idita rows where you try to row the length of the Iditarod with a team. So you and 4 or 5 other people have to row, 10 miles a day, which equates to the 100 plus miles they do per day. Do 100 miles per day? Yeah, about 100 miles per day. Do you have to spin 1,050 miles of yarn, or is it just no, we just spin during the race? Okay. The Iditarod, that's a wild one. So fun fact, so the mile 0 of the Iditarod Trail is in Seward, and there is a lot of not misinformation, but just like getting it wrong. The Iditarod race is kind of this culmination of the diphtheria epidemic, but the trail, the Iditarod Trail, the historic one, mile 0 is in Seward. So you get off a steamship, actually right here. This is pretty cool. So you get off a steamship right here. This spot actually got wiped out by the tsunami. But you get off a steamship right here, and then you go all the way up, sometimes by train or sled dog, or usually people would have a pack dog. So it'd be you and like a husky, and the husky would carry, 30 pounds of stuff, and you carry your stuff and have a stick, and there'd be little roadhouses every 20 miles ish. So you do about 20 miles a day, and that would take you kind of to the interior. So approximately, every day you get a spot to stay. But it's cool. Like the history of these places is so cool. But what's interesting to me too is all the histories are just really based off of, sorry, let me just quickly, I gotta go kind of throw some paint here. There we go. Add a little bit there, a couple little spatters. Make every print unique. There we go. What's so cool is that a lot of this place is based off of the migratory patterns of these animals that people have been following for thousands of years, because Alaska is not a place that, people started living in the gold rush. They've been here for thousands and thousands of years. So the Iditarod Trail, the highway that starts here, actually just sort of follows the migratory patterns of the animals, which just naturally follows the people follow that, and became hunting trails and trading routes and all this kind of cool stuff. But it's just layers on layers on layers on layers on layers. All right, a nice little eagle here. We can get this one, the initial shading in right now, and then we'll add all the rest in just a moment. There we are. Lovely. Little eagle. That's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, Alaska's amazing. So where is if you said the north, so you must be further south, I assume. Most things are further south from us, I suppose. Although I think we are the furthest east and the furthest west place in at least the US, maybe in the world. What are we? Yeah, the Aleutians kind of spread around the tip of things. It's strange. My wife's family they were just hiking out in the Aleutian Islands. They're just about to get back, but it's closer to go to Seattle from Anchorage than it is to the Aleutians. Alaska's enormous. Okay, a little bit of some of these darker colors kind of on the underside of the wing right now, just to bring that to life, and then we'll go into our whales. There we are. And maybe actually let's get some feet. Just get some little yellow in there. A little bit of yellow in the feet. But this Friday I'll be heading to Portage, where I will be trying to find where my grandma sketched in 1985. So what is that, 41 years ago? 1985? Yeah, 41 years ago. So I'll be trying to find exactly where she was the place where she was had a glacier in it, and the glacier has since receded a bunch, but the mountains should help me find exactly where she was. I found it once before, and I'll be painting live out there, which will be a lot of fun. But it's so cool to be able to show you kind of how things line up, or sometimes how they don't line up. And then the hope is that I can kind of find a way that it becomes nice and maybe not easy, but at least with a sketchbook. I'm going to take one of these big accordion sketchbooks, and that is going to be my kind of map. I'll trace one of her sketches on it, and then I'll basically travel until those two line up, and then make the same sketch in the same place, which would be really, really, really fun. Hopefully, it'll at least be a good adventure one way or another. I'm based in Southern Ontario. Oh, very cool. We tend to talk about the near north around Hudson Bay, and then anything further as far north. Oh, amazing. Yeah, I love that area. I used to live in northern New York, so we'd spend a lot of time in the Ontario area. Although I haven't spent too much time in like Newfoundland or Labrador. Those are areas I'm really excited to go to one day. My grandma sketched a few of those, so that'll be some really fun sketch. She sketched all over Canada too. A lot in the Yukon territory, a lot in the St. Lawrence Valley. So my hope is to do a bunch of sketches kind of following that, especially because my wife's Canadian. So, and by New York, I'm by New York City here. which counts. That counts. Nothing wrong with New York City. Yeah, a couple things wrong with New York City, but that's what makes it lovely. Okay, right there. And now let's add just a little bit into the tail. And move just a touch to the bottom of the eagle face. And there we go. Ta-da! Voila. There we go. We have one really fun little sketch. Oh, so fun. I love how the eagle and the whale just bring this to life. This is so cool. This is number 3 then. Okay, gotta label this. This might be the part that is the most scary for me though. Like, things tend to go wrong when words are involved. And then, not a shameless plug, but these are available if anybody wants one. They're now live on the main website. There's only going to be 74 of them because they're each hand augmented, so it just takes a while. But yeah, it's really fun. Just like so cool seeing them done on the actual watercolor paper that you can actually paint on, but it all feels just like the original. And now, the scary part, let's write the title here. Okay, spell it right. Mount Marathon. M-O-U-N-T. Here we go. M-O-U-N-T. Marathon. The concentration is real. Comma, Stewart, Alaska. As a dyslexic, I've always been kind of self-conscious of my handwriting because it usually comes with misspellings, but I kind of love that sketch feel. Like this to me feels like a page just right out of a sketchbook, which is exactly what I was hoping. And yeah, there's something kind of nice about the sort of sketched out feel of it. Thanks, Romey. And then this is number 3-74. 7.4. Ta-da! There we go. So here you can kind of, if you zoom in a little bit, you can kind of see here's the top of the mountain peeking through. Whoops. And then here is the eagle, which is going to be sideways now because I can't get it very close. All right, here's your sideways eagle. Ta-da! Isn't that great? There's something wonderful about painting on watercolor paper because, like, oh, how close can I go? Approximately that close. But there's something great about painting on watercolor paper because it's just indistinguishable, you know, because it is watercolor paper. And then the whales. Here are those. Oh, how fun. All right, one more. What do we wait, 4:23? Maybe, actually, you know what? I think I need to run. I'm gonna zip over, try to pick up one more thing. I'm gonna do that right now. Do I have time? Yeah, I do. Okay, I'm gonna zip, actually. I'm gonna zip really quick. But if you are, I'll raid Twitch over somewhere here. But if you are interested in checking it out on Friday, make sure you're part of our newsletter. We've got a really fun newsletter with just the coolest stuff that we send out. What kind of, oh, hold on, all the questions. What kind of paper do you make the prints? Are they all watercolor paper? Yes. So they're all watercolor paper. This is either, what is this? Hanamulla or, what is it? I don't think it's the Epsom. I think it's just Hanamulla. So it's just like straight up watercolor paper. It's the printer that I think is the other fancy bit. Like a normal printer, and you can kind of see, like here's, well, maybe you can, maybe you can't. So like a normal printer uses the CKYM, which is going to be 3 colors, and 3 colors combined in different ratios can make a whole bunch of everything. This one uses, I think, 14 colors. So 14, like we're talking billions of color combinations. But like when you mix that plus just actual watercolor paper, I don't know most of the magic behind it, but like it is, I have the original somewhere else because it could get lost in these. Like that is my concern. Like you can even see the marks where I did pencil and then left it because I kind of want to show where the work is. Like, isn't that kind of nuts? Like this stuff is kind of wild. It makes me really excited about being able to kind of make a sketchbook and being able to recreate it. But yeah, it's really, really wild stuff. So here's the eagle. So this was printed. This eagle was not. You just watched me do it. But like it's the same. I don't know. It's wild. It's really, really wild. I don't know how this technology works. All I know is that it feels like the sketch that I made, and I like that. Because it's like one that I can share. I've only got one of those, but I can share so many of these. They do exist. Okay, let's see. Hold on, shameless stuff here. So there's a newsletter. If you wanna help out, there's a newsletter. It's really fun. It's free. We just send it out. That kind of shares what things are happening when streams are, and we just it's good to have. If you get a chance, subscribe on, or what is it? Anyway, follow stuff on Twitch and YouTube, and then you'll see the little notifications. I am not good at planning stuff out, so the more you can do on just notifications of like, I am live, I am so bad at saying I'm going to do a thing and then having it, partially because of the weather, mostly because of myself. And then we have a fun membership, and the first 100 members get a mug. I think we're up to like 60 though, so there's only 40 of these left, but we made these really fun little Trailbound Sketches mugs. So unless it costs more to ship it, in which case you get a really fun little print. So all those things exist. They're really fun, but mostly just thanks for stopping by and saying hi. And I can't wait to show everybody a really cool view on Friday. Hopefully bring my grandma's sketch back to where it was made. And that's going to happen Friday, like afternoon or something like that. You already part of the newsletter? Perfect. Okay. Yeah, the newsletter's great. The membership is cool. And then thanks also to everybody who picked up a print. These things are so cool. I cannot wait to ship these out to you. And thanks for your support. It's going to help so many of these adventures happen. So thank you. Okay. And without further ado, I'm going to scamper. But step 1, pre-scamper, is to where are we headed on Twitch? Any thoughts? Is anybody doing some really neat and cool stuff? Let me see here. Twitch. Actually, yeah, I'll say goodnight to all of YouTube here first, and then I will try to remember how to do the Twitch side of things. But